Yamba la penita carna, puja wa, kayawa, ganbo, nija puja wa jok, nija puja kora lang bala pin, mamang ka, jananing bo, nija, kata garap, winja banere kamalana, bal, nyin bal wa kan ngalaking, ngalaking ni, ngalaking. Kenywa, ngalaking Kenywa, ngalaking Murticha, ngalaking Nidja, Bulla Bidi. Nidja winja ngalaking Wa Kenywa, ngalaking Murticha Pin, Nidja Bidi. Winja ngalaking Buja wa, Wapich Wap, ngalaking Wapich Wap. So what I just said then, in one of the oldest languages in the world, is that this place right here is a place that my old people, they would stand and they'd look. So it's a place with many names, and one of those names is Kart Jenaning Bo. Kart is your head, Janang is to look, Nyin is to sit, Bo is far. It's a place that they look very far, and the young men, the boys became men as they looked far and they surveyed that land. And that place is also called Kartagarap. Kar, the Kara is the spider. And he has a name, Panere Kamalana. And that spider spirit, he lives there. And he talks to us. He's talked to us for thousands and thousands of generations, and the thing that he's told us, reminded us, is that we are all one. Wherever we come from, all the different paths that we've travelled to be in this room now, sharing this time and space. We are all interconnected and interdependent in this web of life that we find ourselves in. And this right here is a time when this country was balanced, when it was healthy, so we were healthy. It's now been 200 years where that balance has been rocked and rocked and rocked. When I was in Egypt last year for the climate change conference, I heard some of the Amazon leaders talk about, this isn't climate change. This isn't just about the waters getting warmer. The terminology is ecosystem destabilization. And I think it's important for us to understand the holistic problems and the need for holistic solutions. And while we can innovate some great ways to shade concrete so it doesn't crack quicker, there's also some other things underlying the surface that we need to address so that we can bring this balance back to the land and bring that balance back to us. So within our culture, our word for knowledge, because we didn't have a word for culture, culture is just something you do. Anthropologists come up with that. There's karajen. Kart is your head, jen is your foot. There's lots of interpretations, one of them being that everything that you absorb into your cart, every song that you hear, every dance that you see, every dream that you dream, that informs every step that Jenna takes. You don't be the oldest living continuous culture in the world by accident. When we do our dances, we mimic the yonka, the kangaroo. We mimic the wirlich. When those kids look up to us, they see us connecting with those animals. These are love songs for these animals, love dances for these animals. Because there's levels to connection. You connect a little bit, and then you get to that stage of sympathizing, and then you get to that stage of empathizing, and then you get to that stage of respect. And so that's something that my uncle told me years ago, and it clicked just recently. Our culture is one of respect, respect, respect. And respect is a thing that doesn't happen overnight, doesn't go away overnight. It's a path. That's what I said at the start. As we walk that path, we strengthen it. And so this place right here was the site of one of the first massacres. And in that hill, there's still bones buried of where the settlers hid the bones and covered up in the caves there. And so after that we got pushed out this way, Kokadja, to the east, from Wajok country on the sandy coastal plains out to the wheat belt, the land of the manga tree. As we're pushed out there, my people for generations lived on the outskirts of town, next to the tip. They were in town after the sun went down, 2 months locked up on Waikiaumap, Rottnest Island. And so this is the disconnection that begun and still lives on today. And it's this disconnection that means that we don't feel obligated to one another. We don't feel obligated to the birds, the bees, the trees. This disconnection has meant that we don't feel obligated to each other because we're avoiding the truths, because we don't want to connect with that shame, we don't want to connect with that guilt, we don't want to connect with that pain. And it's beautiful to be a young Noongar man growing up in the world that I grow up in today, because I've heard the stories of my dad growing up in those wheat belt towns. My nan, her mother, her father. Because I do have hope that this is a time where we can come together and connect with these truths. And then when we connect with these truths, then we can come together and we can share this culture. A culture that ensured that that balance was maintained. Not by force, it's by obligation. Everybody being born with a different buranka, different totem, means that you have to know that animal better than anybody else. So mine is the burabuk. It's the southern bubukau. And so I'm responsible for him, but I'm also responsible for the chuarta, the big coastal giants that we have on Wajok country. And so within this system, we've got people that care for the birds, for the trees, for the above ground water, for the below ground water, and all the plants and all the medicines. And this holistic approach means that not one person is doing everything. And when we make these decisions and we come together, not one person can just hunt all the kangaroos, because this person over here, he's responsible for them and he'll ensure that there's that balance. And these are old systems, but I believe this is the answer. All of these, we're preaching to the converted here, in these spaces. We love trees. We love the indemnities that country provides for us. But it's out there where people are too busy avoiding things and creating these lives that allow them to be disconnected from that. Where we're just got our head in the sand and the ocean is boiling. These animals are going extinct. And that destabilization comes in the form of these fires that we're seeing in Turtle Island. The floods, the storms, plagues. So when we talk about culture, we talk about these impressions that are put into our minds. And I think we're at a time in history in Australia to take those impressions that were passed on from generation to generation, interrogate them, understand the reason, the intention behind these impressions. That meant that I was in year 2 and I had kids calling me a boom. And I said, what's a bung? And my friend said, oh, it means Nyunga. I said, yes. Because all I ever knew was to be a proud Nyunga. I didn't know there was these other connotations, and these other connotations exist, and we need to talk about it from a place of love and understanding, so we can move on and leave some better impressions for the future.